Friendship in school often forms under structured, predictable conditions. Everyone shows up at the same time, shares similar schedules, attends the same classes, and follows the same rules. This repetitive structure creates consistent social opportunities. You don't have to plan to see people, it just happens. School is not only a place for learning but also a built in social environment that simplifies human connection. Once school ends, that structure disappears. And with it, so does the regularity that kept many friendships intact. Suddenly, everyone is given a blank canvas, and not all canvases go in the same direction. Some people move forward faster, some stay still. The routine is broken, and when life becomes more open ended, friendships are no longer maintained by proximity, they're maintained by effort. That's where the change begins. Friendships that were convenient now require reaching out, initiating plans, making time, and being intentional. And not everyone is willing or able to do that. It's not necessarily personal, it's a result of changing routines, priorities, and directions in life. And unfortunately, this often happens quickly. The people you saw almost every day became people you barely speak to. There is no dramatic way to say goodbye, no explanation, just silence. And that silence becomes distance. One common reason this shift feels so harsh is because school gives a false sense of closeness. You think you're close to someone because you see them daily or talk often. But once you're outside of that shared system, you begin to realize whether or not the connection had depth. The moment that regular context is gone, so is the bond, if it was only ever surface level to begin with. It's important to recognize that this isn't entirely avoidable. You can't beg someone to stay in your life. Trying to do so often leads to rejection or being ignored. And it's not because you're not worth it, but because the other person has already mentally moved on. And that part hurts because it feels so sudden. But often the signs were there all along. The foundation just wasn't built for long term. However, this doesn't mean meaningful connection is over. Just because some people were only meant to stay for a certain part of your life doesn't mean that no one will stay going forward. There are still people out there who you haven't met yet. People who may become as important to you as those you lost, maybe even more. Thinking you've experienced all the closeness you'll ever get is not only untrue, it's limiting. Lastly, it's helpful to stop assuming that others think about you as much as you think about them. While this sounds cold, it's actually freeing. People have their own lives, thoughts, and distractions. You're not in the spotlight of someone else's mind as often as you believe. That can feel isolating, but it also means you're not being judged or forgotten in the way you fear. It's just life moving on as it always does. Losing friends after school isn't a failure, it's just a transition. And like any transition, it reveals what was stable and what wasn't. It hurts, yes, but it also opens the door for new connections. However, it does so only if you let it.